To me, freedom has nothing to do about where we are physically. There are people in prison that are more free than some people on the streets, and there's some people outside of prison who are locked up. So for me, true freedom is not a physical place and where you are, but a mindset that you have in life. When I was 17, I was a junior in high school. I was arrested for aiding and abetting a homicide, and I got a 20-year sentence. I didn't know what to do. I got into jail. Scared at that age. I wasn't allowed to see anyone. I wasn't able to visit anyone or anything, and I remember I just slept for like the first 2 days. You look around at 17 years old and everybody's older than you, and it's kind of scary and intimidating and all those things. I remember it was my first Friday there in jail. It was January 24th, and I remember that everyone was leaving out of the unit, and they said, "Who wants to go to this church service?" And I said, "No, I'm good." I didn't want to go. And one of the guys like, "Well, they give you donuts." So I'm like, "All right, I'm going." So I went, and this volunteer he played a few songs, and we sang a few songs, and then he started speaking about God's just mercy and forgiveness and love in a way that I had never ever heard before. I just completely blew me away. I'd never heard that before. And at the end he said, "Is there anyone who'd like to give their life to Christ?" And I didn't quite know what that meant at the time, but I raised my hand, and they led me through prayer. And what happened in that moment is there was a change in me that I started, attending that service Friday night regularly and having one-on-one meetings and just going to the rest of these groups and feeling the love that these volunteers who were coming in were pouring in and taking time to come and meet with us and visit with us. And when I went to Stillwater in 2010, I got around some guys that they had been in prison for a long time, and they had really no foreseeable future of when they were going to be getting out of prison. And they were happy, and they were smiling, and they had joy. And I was like, why? Those guys showed that you can have a solid walk in prison. That even though you're locked up, even though you got a lot of time to do in prison, you can follow Christ in a solid way that is life-changing and life-transforming, and so much that it bubbles out of you and gets onto other people around you. When I was able to open myself up to God's love and understand that God did love me and that He forgave me, I was able to get past that unforgiveness that I had for myself and open myself up to receive love. And when I open myself up for that, I can open myself up to give it away to other people. My grandma met a guy named Bill, who's a member of Westwood Church, and she had known him. They had a kind of a working relationship, and since 2005, he's just been coming to visit and pouring into my life, and that's when I first met Westwood Church. Westwood's impacted my life personally by just being a presence here. In the book of John, it says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Every set of sermon notes that are sent in, every DVD series that's set in, that's light shining into a dark place. And no matter how dark this place can become, and there's some despair and those things in this place, the light of Christ shining into this place through you guys is overpowering all of that. When I look at freedom, freedom is found in not having to be trapped by the things I've done in the past, but continuing to look forward to how am I going to make a positive impact into the future, and how am I going to share God's love with all those around me so that the change that I've had in my life, they can have that same change in theirs.